Now, delighted to say my guest joining us on the programme between now and 8 o'clock is a busy man. He's the priest in charge of the Bybrook Benefice. The Reverend Jonathan Philpott is with me. Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you again.
Yes, you too.
It's taken ages to get you on this. I said you're busy, but I've been trying for so long to get you on the programme. We've made it at last.
We have, yep.
For Advent Sunday.
For Advent Sunday, yeah, and it's great to finally be here.
Good. Nice to see you. I see you're the priest in charge of the Bybrook Benefice. Quite how many churches fall within the benefice? I suppose how many churches are you responsible for?
10.
Can we
10 small rural churches.
Put you on the spot here. Let's go through them all.
In alphabetical order or geographical?
In whatever order you like.
Okay. So Nettleton and Burton, Littleton Drew, Crittleton, Kington St Michael, Yatton Kennel, Castle Combe, West Kington, North Wraxall, Slaughterford, and Biddiston.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Sensible question, though. I mean, how on earth do you divide your time up to make sure that everyone gets a fair share of your time?
Things are very different now to the way they were when I first started out, and I spent much more time in the early days trying to get around all of the churches on a very regular basis, simply to get to know who people were. And I was beginning to get quite good at that until I started seeing people in Sainsbury's, and once they're out of context, didn't have a clue who they were. So I was getting around all of them, but these days, in order to actually cover the place at all, I've got 2 part-time colleagues who work with me, and we've divided responsibility for the churches out among the 3 of us, and that works much, much better. So not everyone sees me as much, but I do get around once a month to the team service when we all come together.
And how long have you been there now in this particular role?
Just over 5 years.
Right, okay.
So, yeah.
Goodness.
About 5 years last month.
And growing up, where did you grow up in the country?
In Cheltenham.
Right, okay.
So not too far away.
Yeah,
no.
okay. And talking of Cheltenham, an avid Cheltenham Town football supporter.
I am. Yes, I am.
It's a big passion, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And, you know, there's something to celebrate the season so far, so long may it continue. Top of the league as of yesterday.
Hey.
Still, so, yeah. I'm enjoying it.
Well done. Do you actually get to go to the games from time to time?
Yeah, I used to be a season ticket holder when we were a bit closer, but I get up to 3 or 4 a season and just started taking my little boy as well, which is great.
Oh.
He loves it.
How old is he?
He's 6.
Yeah, so that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's dad and son time.
It really is, and granddad as well. So 3 of us, 3
Great.
generations.
All together?
All together.
That's
yeah.
brilliant.
It is great.
Excellent. Did you grow up in a faith family, or did you have a defining moment, if you like, to think, no, this is what I want to do with my life?
Well, both, if it's fair to say. I was brought up in a Christian family, and I think for generations that on both sides, my family have been Christians, and I was taken to church when I was younger, and but only ever taken to church up to a certain age, and I was always given the choice to make my own decision, and I carried on attending church for quite a while, but certainly had a crisis of faith moment in my teens. I guess it's not too unusual, really. And did my very best, really, to say, well, there is no God. I can't buy into this. It's all just a bit out there. And the more I tried to walk away, the more I realised that I couldn't. And the more I realised there definitely was a God, and there was a God I couldn't turn my back on. He wouldn't turn his back on me.
But what persuaded you that there is a God?
That's a really good question. I think it was that the more I tried to rationalise that I could have a better life without God, the more I realised it wasn't possible. The more I felt like part of me was missing, and I think that's ultimately what it was. I simply looked at it and thought, this just doesn't make any sense. If there is no God, then I can't make sense of life.
And what was the moment you decided, yeah, I'm going to work in the church. I'm going to train to become a vicar?
That was a very long process. Could you believe it started when I was 14?
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh.
So I was given an opportunity when I was 14 with my dad to go out to Romania, and probably should be careful as to who's listening now, to smuggle Bibles into the country. Not your average 14-year-old summer holiday break, but
it's not the average smuggler assignment either.
Not really, no. But when I was away there was some amazing people out with us. About 14 of us went out in a minibus, took medical supplies out to hospitals and things as well, and some stuff to orphanages. It was absolutely fantastic few weeks. And when I was there, a lady who I got on very well, she would be in her 60s or 70s, I guess, came up to me one day and she said, I think one day you might be a vicar.
And you were 14?
Yes.
So how does a 14-year-old respond to that?
Well, yeah, as you can imagine, probably. Could you not come up with a professional footballer or,
want to be a policeman?
Baseman or something like that, but no, a vicar. I wasn't pleased, I have to say, but it stuck with me. And over a course of time, I would see more people, and completely unrelated people, who would say the same thing to me. And after a little while, I started to think, well, okay, well, maybe there's something in this, although, to be really honest, I still don't overly fancy it. But there you go. If there is a God, and that's what God's planning, then we'll see what happens. And again, well, I don't know where to go back to, really, but I got engaged to my wife in 2011. And no, that's not true. 2011.
Now, you better not get this
God,
wrong.
I have got it wrong. Would you believe?
If she's listening this morning, you'll be in trouble.
I'm in big trouble, but thankfully she's still in bed, I hope.
With the
Tracy,
radio on.
I'm really, really sorry if you're listening. Anyway, I got engaged to my wife in 2003. Bit before 2011. And the day after I got engaged, I flew out to India for 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
As you do. And this was one of the defining moments for me, was at which I knew that it was going to be the time to pursue all of this, was that I ended up on a trip with the diocesan director of ordinands, in fact sharing a room with him.
Right.
We were all doubled up, and by the end of that trip he said, so when are you coming to see me then? And that was kind of it. Lots and lots between the two. But
so then you had to come back from India to this lovely lady you just got engaged to and say, oh, and by the way, I'm going to become a vicar.
Yes. Well, we had the conversation before, so it wasn't over surprise to her, and thankfully she knew what she was getting into when she got engaged to me. I think if we'd got engaged and we got married and suddenly I discovered that that's what I wanted to do, that might have been a bit less flexible for her. But no, she was up for it.
And I know your wife has certainly embraced life within the Benefice as well, and is very much involved as well.
She's very, very active, doing a lot of our children's work.
Great.
So
Even if he did get the date he got engaged wrong.
I'm going to have to go and confess that before she gets out of bed now.
But, this is the thing. Your parishioners from all the 10 different churches, this is the thing they're going to be mentioning for months now.
Yes.
Oh, we heard you on the radio.
That's right.
And we heard you got the date you got engaged.
Yes, after you arrived in the Benefice. How did you manage that with the son?
Going to haunt you, I'm afraid.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear me. Delighted. The Reverend Jonathan Philpott is with me this morning. And we always ask our guests to choose a song. So what have you chosen for us, and why? What are we going to play?
Okay. Well, it's slightly Advent-related, in that in a few minutes I'm going to talk a little bit about waiting as one of the key themes of Advent. And this song choice is all about waiting for our son to be born. It was Luke, so he's 6 last month. And in fact, this month, we're still in November, aren't we? See my dates, honestly. Right,
it's early. Don't worry.
Stop speaking. Yeah. He was overdue, and we were getting quite frustrated by that. And I'm sure anyone who's been waiting for a child to be born knows exactly that feeling. And we went up to Cheltenham just to escape where we were living for a little bit, for a bit of a break. And we were walking around in the streets, and we were just crying out to God, saying, what's happening here? Is he going to be all right? Is he coming? And this song popped into my head, and it's I've Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas. I've got a feeling that tonight's going to be a good night. And about 2:30 in the morning, Trace went into labour, and Luke didn't quite come that night, but it was the beginning of things to come.
Ah, that's good. That's never happened before. You told a brilliant story there, and the song I wanted to play for you didn't arrive. So I'm going to try that again, and see, that's not going to work, you see. I don't know what's happened there. Oh, it's all going terribly well, isn't it, this morning, between us?
At least it's not just me.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why that happened. Let me try that one more time. No. Oh, that's a real shame. Forgive me, I don't know what happened there. I will work on that, but now you've had a sip of water.
Yeah.
Could I lead you to your morning thoughts?
You certainly
to
can,
mark Advent Sunday.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Is it just me, or is waiting on the way out? We live in a world today where there is instant communication instead of letters and telegrams. We can shop pretty much wherever and whenever we want to, either online or throughout the week in shops. Not that we've quite cracked instant delivery. We can get credit pretty easily to buy something that we can't afford without waiting to save up for it. But there are some things designed to cut out waiting that don't really help. How about those times where we phone to speak to somebody only to find ourselves in an automated queuing system that counts down our position in the queue and very often cuts us off just as we get somewhere near number one? Or my favourite, the self-service checkout at the supermarket. designed to reduce waiting times and also interaction with any other human being, except for that poor member of staff who has to supervise them, running up and down the lanes, putting things right. A frazzled member of staff recently said to me that life would be so much simpler if only the self-service checkouts weren't there. Maybe, just maybe, despite our best efforts, waiting is actually worth doing, especially when we discover a purpose to it. Throughout the Old Testament, we can read about God's people who were waiting for the King of Kings to come. But when he finally came, he wasn't what they expected. Jesus wasn't the warrior king, but the Prince of Peace. He wasn't the master, but the servant king. He wasn't an oppressor, but became oppressed. And he did all of this to bring an end to suffering, injustice, and oppression. And today we have something in common with God's people throughout the Old Testament. We're waiting. We're waiting for Jesus to return once more, only this time not as a baby born in a manger. And this is what Advent invites us to do. To look back to Jesus' first coming, but also to look forward to his second coming. Advent gives us once a year the chance to wait with a purpose, to wait with hope for that day, helping others to see what God is doing in our world, and showing them the hope that can be found in a relationship with the living God who is at work in the world. Advent is full of a sense of anticipation for what is going to come, full of symbolism of darkness awaiting the dawn, as the light of the world steps down to reveal the glory of God here among us. We can all too easily lose sight of the message of Advent, as many have done with the message of Christmas. We can think it's all about lighting candles, opening calendar doors, and eating little chocolates. But the real message of Advent is about a hope for all God's people. And so this Advent, may we ask ourselves whether we're expecting the right thing, whether we're open to what God has done, what God is doing, and what God has yet to do. May we be awake, alert, waiting with expectation and hope.
Jonathan, thank you. The Reverend Jonathan Philpott, priest in charge of the Bybrook Benefice. And while you were busy with your morning thought, we've been busy with the Black Eyed Peas.
Brilliant.
Let's enjoy this. Worth waiting for, I think you'll agree. The choice of my guest this morning, the Reverend Jonathan Philpott from the Bybrook Benefice. Black Eyed Peas, I've got a feeling, and your feeling was right as far as your son was concerned.
Yeah.
That was the night.
It was the night, yeah.
Now, as always, you've got a busy day ahead today. There's something special happening in Yatton Kennel, and let's find out more and encourage people to come along and join you.
Yeah. So today we've got one of our special cluster services. So we have 3 of them today, but the one I just wanted to mention briefly was the Festival of Light in St Margaret's Church, Yatton Kennel, at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
That's a lovely church as well, 'cause I've been there.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, this is open to everybody?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And give me an idea of the service. What's going to happen? What's it going to be like?
Do you know, it's brilliant. Everyone's been saying to me all week, so what is a Festival of Light? And my answer is, do you know, I've never been to one before, so I'm not exactly sure.
We'll find out.
We will, yes. No, I've got more of an idea now. So we wanted it to be something slightly different to the Advent Carol services that will be taking place today in, I think it's Castle Combe and in North Wraxall. So this one's got a slightly different feel to it. Often in Advent, we are waiting for Christmas to come. But as I mentioned in my thought, we are also waiting for Jesus' second coming. And the Festival of Light is around that, sort of sitting between the two. That sense of looking forward to Christmas, but also about celebrating something that we just don't know when it's going to happen. And that sense of anticipation. What does it mean to be a Christian waiting for Jesus to return? The Festival of Light's all about that.
So it's 4 o'clock this afternoon. Is everybody welcome?
Everybody's welcome, all ages.
Great.
It will be quite a lively service.
Okay, St Margaret's, Yatton Kennel, from 4 o'clock this afternoon. Jonathan, it's been great having you as my guest. Please come and see us again.
I definitely will, and I promise not to leave it so long next time.
Good, I'll hold you to that.
Okay.
Super. I wish you and your family a great Christmas, and give
Thank
our
you.
best to everyone in the Benefice as well who listens to the programme.
I will do.
It's lovely to see you. The
You
Reverend
too.
Jonathan Philpott. It's now 8 o'clock.